That was rough. Two really bad back-to-back showings at my main local. Actually, I think it was like three. Oof. Yeah, because last Saturday we didn't do well either. So we really need to get this together. This previous week with the 3v3 was really rough, um, which is unfortunate because I was looking to close out episode 5 with a big win, and we didn't get it at all. And I think I've identified why that is. So looking through this notebook here, which has like all of the notes from the past 2.5 years, I've noticed some some trends here that are not good. One is that when I'm not playing a combo deck, I struggle because I don't play for follow-up as much, which is why actually in this notebook, which is the brand new one here, as you can see, there's not a thing in here yet, except for a couple of small tech play things that we're going to work on. There's going to be 3 big things that we're working on, especially in episode 6 here. The first one is going to be playing for follow-up. And what I mean by that is that unlike with pure Snake Eyes and decks like that, you can't just like make this like unbreakable board and hope that that gets you there, and if it doesn't, then you probably lose. Ryzeal doesn't play like that, and I think that I have unintentionally been playing it a little too much like that, where I've been focusing so much on what I can do on turn 1, where I'm just like throwing cards at the opponent until something sticks, that unfortunately that doesn't necessarily work. Not if you are not keeping the idea of having the next turn in mind. So I think everything I do going into week 6 here needs to be with that in mind. I need to play keeping the idea of having the follow-up turn in mind, which was something I was really good with Sprite, or was really good at doing with Sprite, but not so good lately. So that's gonna be part 1. The second part is playing with their counters in mind. And that's something that I have always had a hard time with. It seems like ever since, I would say probably 2016, when I stopped playing Monarchs and decks like that, I didn't really have to worry about their counters. I just kind of got to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So there's going to be some bad habits there that need to be broken. For example, we need to stop just playing cards and being like, well, if they have it, they have it. I mean, putting them on better habit definitely is an idea that you can do, but that needs to be done with like some logic and reason behind it. You can't just do it just to do it. So that's gonna be something, whether it be like, you know, if I have my normal summon of Ice here, maybe I wait to normal summon it because I have Bonfire and I want to play around Droll and Lockbird, or like bait out an Ash Blossom, because if I start with Bonfire instead of the Ice, usually that indicates that you have like a weaker hand or something like that. That could be something to consider. So that'll be something that we're looking at this week too. Definitely looking at like how we're gonna play for the follow-up as opposed to just playing. And then number 3 is not understanding the other decks that I'm playing against a lot. That's been something that I've gotten really lazy about, is not playing with like being well informed of those decks. What I mean by that is, let's say I'm playing against Malice, for example. I had to reread all the Malice cards multiple times, which, sure, you know, you can reread them to get a refresher, but you should have a pretty good understanding of what the second best deck in a format is going to be doing. And if you don't, well, then that's probably part of the reason why you're losing. So we're going to be looking at that. We'll be studying a lot more this week. There's going to be a lot more nitty-gritty, like nose to the grindstone type of stuff off camera, which is going to be not the most fun because it's the holiday season. And then we also changed up the deck a little bit because I think there were some choices that were, I think I was probably getting like too cute with it. We're going to go very just like cut and dry, not at all exciting deck building this week. So hopefully we start to see, now that we're on episode 6, like a vast improvement compared to episodes 1 through 5. Because episodes 1 through 5, like, you know, we started off strong and then we've gotten a dip and now we're in a losing streak. Hopefully we can go back up that hill. But we'll have to see. So let's see what we can do this week. All right, so it's our first tournament back after Christmas. We're going to try Pure Ryzeal one more time. I figure if this time it doesn't go very well based on, you know, just like the deck just not feeling like it can do enough, I'll go with Fiendsmith. I'll finally give that a shot. even though overall I don't really like the Fiendsmith version as much. Getting really tired of losing, so we might have to switch it up. But let's just show you really quick what we're running with tonight. It's very standard, 3 ice, 3 ext, 3 sword, node, cross, plug-in, plasma hole, 3 bonfire, and then we're actually doing the 3 desires again, but instead of some more non-engine, I'm actually playing a Pot of Prosperity. I know I've said I don't like bottlenecking my lines, and I still really don't, but with the amount of times that I have had those games where I just can't get another push going, I figured it's worth trying this out. Maybe I'll get to just have, another consistent, it's just another consistency card. It's just starter number 13, because you have the main 9, Ryzeal's the bonfire, so that's 12, and then you have the prosperity for tree number 13. So hopefully that'll take it and push it up just enough to where I can actually consistently get to do what I need to do. For the non-engine, we have the 3 Ash Blossoms, 3 Effect Veilers, 3 Infinite Permanents, 3 Fulos. I still don't think Fulos feels that great. It certainly doesn't feel that great against the mirror match and things like that, but it's solid enough. And we're doing 2 Ghost Ogres and 1 Nibiru. Reason for the 1 Nibiru is I'm still playing Crossout. As much as I really dislike this card, I figure I might as well just try it, because we gotta. Although I could see myself switching back to Strike. That's one of the things I'm really back and forth on, is this or Strike. I know it's got to be something between those two, but I feel like Crossout just lets me be so much more aggressive, and that's where the key I've found to really winning is just being able to be aggressive with the deck. And then Call by the Grave and 2 Triple Tactics Talent, just to give myself a second copy to have more often. And also just means that I can cross out one and still know that the other one's there. I did think about playing D-Barrier over one of the talents, just so that way I had a main deck crossout for D-Barrier, because of the Labyrinth deck, as well as just people randomly teching 1 D-Barrier in as a thrust target. That might be worth considering as well, although if I end up not playing Pure and I switch over to Fiendsmith and like that one better, wouldn't be maining crossout anyway, so who knows. For the extra deck, you have 2 Duo Drive, 2 Detonator, 1 Dweller, Exciton Knights, Full Armored Utopic Ray Lancer, Light Dragon, Baguska, Dagaris. I'm still playing Tornado Dragon. I still really firmly believe that this card just gives you enough options. And also you just need back row removal, so having that is always good. I took out the Zeus for 2nd Mirror Logic Aggregator. I'm not citing Ultimate Slayer, but I just found that the 2nd Aggregator was coming up in games that I was reviewing. And when I was looking over my notes, being able to just have access to a second one to send off of the follow-up EXT Ryzeal, I think is going to be really good. Just to see if that can continue to help me out. But then we have the Typhon and the Donner. So that is it for the extra deck. I guess I can talk about, I considered playing SP over Donner, but I just felt like Donner being able to clear itself was more valuable than SP being able to be a continual clearing threat. But I had seen some people try SP with some success, so that's probably worth noting. Then for the side deck, we have 3 Lancia, 3 Bell, the 3 Perulia, a full 3 Metal Tronus this time. I think I just really undervalued this card before, especially in the mirror match. It's just E-Telly, which is just absurd to say, and to think that I wasn't playing 3. It just has a lot of really good applications, and it's the ability to knock out an effect as well as establish a small bit of presence on my board, I think is too valuable. And then 3 D-Barriers. No back row removal. I could consider cutting 1 Metal Tronus, but I think that just having the 5 3-ofs is really good. But yeah, we're going to see, hopefully, episode 6 here, we get to see some more success and some better technical play overall, because episode 5 really felt like we were lacking in that regard. So let's get to work. Round 2 is done. We are 2-0. We just faced, what did I just face? I just played against Manadium. Played against
Drytron round 1, and then Mannadium round 2. The Drytron match was really close. Game 1, she ended up winning really quickly by just having like a ton of damage and stuff. I tried to Dweller and come back, it wasn't enough. But then we won games 2 and 3 pretty handedly. Because Dweller was really good in game 2, and then in game 3 I just kind of OTK'd her. I opened up Fulos, Ash, and Bell, so I had like really good hand traps, and I had Call by the Grave and Bonfire for my turn, so I was able to pop off with that. Against Mannadium, it was a 2-0. Won game 1 pretty handedly, just kind of outgrinded really hard. And then game 2, couldn't really put anything together, so I just kind of took them apart really quick, and it was a quick 2-0. We have 2 rounds left. Hopefully, if we win the next one, we're at least guaranteed some prizing. So, let's see how it goes. So, unfortunately, despite our pretty awesome start at 2-0, we ended up 2-2. Which really, I think, is just emphasizing in my mind that I'm not playing particularly well. Round 3, we played against the Centurion Bestial deck, which you guys are probably seeing the whole clip there, where I misplayed horrendously. Like, I had so many ways of winning game 1, and just, for some odd reason, just forgot about the Phalanx trap to revive, and I was tunnel visioning on my Exciton Knight clearing the field of the back row. And so then when I used Exciton Knight, he used Phalanx to revive his monsters, or his Axilla, which protected all the back row, and then the back row protected the Axilla, so I didn't kill anything, really. And I burned so many cards doing that, I think I threw away like my plug-in and my cross on that play. It was very bad. I played very badly. Ended up winning game 2 because of D-Barrier, and then lost game 3 to his D-Barrier when I didn't have cross out. But really, we shouldn't have even been in a game 3. I don't really think. I think I just kind of punted. Or if we were in a game 3, or if we would have still been in a game 3, I should have been going first, which would have given me a significant advantage. So that one was very frustrating. And then round 4, I played against Goblin Biker, my mortal enemy, and just could not get anything going, and I'm pretty sure I punted there too. I was just very tilted by that point, and played very poorly. So we might have to try the Fiendsmith version tomorrow. I'm going to sleep on it, and we'll see what happens.
We're just going to jump right in. With how poorly last night went, I think we're just going to switch it up and do a Fiendsmith version, see how that goes. So that's what we're going to show you really quick here. As I mentioned previously, I only have 2 engravers, which kind of sucks, but hopefully the deck will do okay. And can you guys let me know down below, when I make changes like this, even if it's just a few cards, do you want to see that stuff, or would you rather I just explain the changes and we go from there? I feel like seeing the whole deck with the changes and stuff keeps it interesting, but I know that not everybody's into that, so we'll see what the majority of comments are. But anyway, for the deck we have 3 Ice, 3 X'd, 3 Sword, Node, Cross, and Plugin. There is no Plasma Hole in the Fiendsmith version. I just don't have room, which is unfortunate because I really like that card, and I think it's really good at outing cards like Chaos Angel and things like that, which I've historically struggled with, but we don't have room for it, so we're going to have to just make do. And then the 3 Bonfires as well for the Ryziel engine. I know most people aren't playing plug-in, but I still think this card is really good. Even in the Fiendsmith version where you maybe don't get as much rank 4 utility, I think just being able to bring back the detonator is just too solid not to do, honestly. Then for our Fiendsmith engine, there's the 2 engravers, because like I said, I only own 2. So instead we're actually doing double Lacrima, which I think might be pretty solid. Shoutouts to my buddy Aaron for suggesting to do 2. I was going to just do 1. But it does kind of make up for the second engraver in that it's another body. Plus being a level 4 is obviously really good. And then the 1 Lurie, 1 Tract, and 1 Fiendsmith in Paradise. I don't think you need more than 1 Tract. I think it just honestly makes the deck more susceptible to cards like Droll, obviously. But then also, you can always just search for Fiendsmith in Paradise, which doesn't typically sound so good, but thanks to Ice Ryziel and Node Ryziel, I think it's actually not too bad. When I was doing some test hands before, there was one game where I actually made Necroquip Princess, used Engraver, added Fiendsmith in Paradise, and then just special summoned my Ice Ryziel, which is pretty solid because I got to draw off the Necroquip thanks to the Engraver, and then I got the Fiendsmith in Paradise engraved anyway. I think that might be pretty solid. But yeah, it's just this small, compact Fiendsmith engine, which should hopefully answer some of the problems that I've been having before, like D-Barrier, for example, or just big monsters in general, and just the lack of pushes. I don't necessarily like that there's no Pot of Desires in here. I think that was one of my favorite parts about the Pure deck, was that I got to play, cards like Desires and things like that. But I think it'll be okay. And then for non-engine, I'm not doing as many hand traps as, or like classic hand traps as everybody else is doing. So I'm doing 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and then I am still doing the 2-2 split on Perulia and Fulos. I still am not totally sure if I want to do 2-2 or just 3 Fula. It's really up in the air. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how they perform. And then we have 2 Druisworm and a Magnamut. This is something I saw Denny Vu and a couple other players do at the regional level, and I really liked it a lot. The idea being that obviously this is good into Malice. It's also good into the Mirror Match. It helps you to out Chaos Angel, because if you summon your Chaos Angel, or it helps answer a Detonator, sorry, not Chaos Angel. It outs Detonator Cross, because if you summon Chaos Angel with Druisworm and Lacrima, for example, you do Chainlink 1 Chaos Angel targeting the Cross, Chainlink 2 Druisworm target the Detonator. They're going to be forced to use the Cross on the Druisworm, and then the Chaos Angel will banish the Cross, and then you've outed that whole issue, and you have an indestructible Chaos Angel. And then for the last bit of non-engine, I'm actually playing some Board Breakers. I'm playing 3 Enemy Controller. This is a card I am always a fan of getting to play, so anytime I can, I'm going to do it. The idea being that, like, when going first, it's still a solid defensive card, because I can just, take a piece of their field. But when going second, I think is where it'll really shine. In mirror matches, I can take their monsters. If they have, like, a Detonator, I can force it to be destroyed. If they have a Chaos Angel, for example, I can take it. If they have a Fiendsmith card, I can, use that to help negate, or to help bridge to my engine. Just things like that. I think it's going to be really solid. And then I am still playing 2 Triple Tactics Talent and 1 Called by the Grave. So that's the main deck. It is 41 cards. If I cut anything, it would honestly probably be the second Perulia and then just play a third Fua. But it made it easier for siding patterns just to have that extra card there. And then for the extra deck, we have the 2 fusions in Necroquip and Desiree, Chaos Angel, and then we're doing 2 Detonator and just 1 Duo Drive. This makes me a little bit nervous because I think Duo Drive is really good, but I had to make room for other stuff, so Duo Drive, being the worst of the 2, needed to go down to 1. Exciton Knight, obviously, because it's a light fiend. Wave King High Caesar. This is something that I've seen some players not playing, and I'm not totally sold on that, but I could see cutting it for Dweller, for example, because I'm not playing Dweller. These are the only rank 4s I'm playing, so my Ryziel cards really lose a lot of their agency in that sense. But we have Caesar, the Aggregator, Typhon, of course, because that card's insane, and then Requiem, SP, which I'm not totally sold on either, but it, you need link climbing in this deck, so that helps you do that. Sequence, Moon in the Closed Heaven, and then Agnum Day. Agnum Day was a card I was really not sold on until I watched, I think it was Lucas Sacco explain just how good Agnum Day was. Just being able to use Agnum Day to... Yeah, it was Lucas Sacco, because he explained how opening up with Engraver and X can still do your full combo, basically. And it's because Agnum Day exists to bring back the Lacrima, so then you have a level 4 for when you summon your X. It was really cool. So shoutouts to Lucas. And then for the side deck, this is where I think my deck is probably going to be the weirdest. So I'm citing 3 Nibiru. I don't even like Nibiru in general, but I feel like when it's paired with a bunch of other hand traps, it's pretty solid. 3 Lancia, obviously, for the Malice matchup. And then one thing that I'm doing that I'm not sold on at all, but I really wanted to play this card, and it's been a long time, is 3 Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. So my area, as we saw in the last episode, is just like full of Ryziel, just everywhere, and it's also full of Fiendsmith. And I figure Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries is a good way to punish both of those decks. Against pure Ryziel, I can hit Detonator, and then they just have like a Duo Drive and like a Baguska, and that's pretty easy to out. Or against the Fiendsmith decks, I can hit Requiem, and then they just like straight lose from there. or I can hit like the Desiree or whatever, depending on the context of the game. But I think this card actually has like a lot of utility that people just don't necessarily see, because it's, you know, really only good going second. But when you're playing cards like the Mulcharmies, which I cite the third copy of each, you're gonna draw so many extra cards. There's a higher chance to see cherries. So I have to see how that goes. And then the Duster, as well as the 3 D-Barriers. So that is the deck that we're playing tonight. Let's see how it goes.
Round 1 is in the books. We are 1-0 with Fiendsmith Ryziel. Played against Lab. Lost game 1 to bricking pretty hard. I drew like the Trap card, the Fiendsmith in Paradise, Econ, and a bunch of other stuff. It was not good. And then I won game 2 pretty quickly, and then game 3 I managed to play through D-Barrier because of the Fiendsmith package. So yeah, it was rough because he didn't necessarily, like, he wasn't too familiar with the Ryziel cards. He hasn't played in a while. But he used Drumi Cannon to turn everything face down to prevent an OTK. But unfortunately, I could still end on a copy of Detonator and Duo Drive with the Field Spell. So round 1 was quick. We're going to see how rounds 2, 3, and 4 go. Round 2 is done. We are 2-0. I just faced the mirror match, actually, which you guys will be seeing on screen. That was game 1. He got to combo off decently. Like, he ended with really weird field because of my Imperm. And then on my turn, I used Econ and just like won the game with that, basically. And then game 2, he bricked really hard, and I just drew like the stones. So it was a very quick 2-0. So that's, I think, pretty much gonna be the only footage we have of the night is just this one game. But it was very quick. We have 2 rounds left, and I think it's just like Malice and the White Forest deck, basically, are like the only other 2 big decks that are there. And I think Tenpai is at the top table too. So no more mirror matches, but Econ has already proven to be really good, and the Fiendsmith cards overperformed. Round 3 is done. We are 3-0. So I guess the Fiendsmith was the fix. Just played against the White Forest deck with Fiendsmith. Game 1, he only drew Fiendsmith cards, and I had Ash Blossom, Imperm, and Abystial, so he couldn't do anything. And then game 2, he had to set Toy Soldier, summon Alistar, I think not the Elzap, but the other one. Send it. I chained Imperm to negate the summon from deck, and then used Magnamut to banish the soldier, and then killed him on my next turn. So it was a very quick 2-0 victory, and we are 3-0. 1 round left, and I think I'm playing against Fiendsmith Tenpai. Fun. All right, we just finished round 4. I went 4-0. Played against the Tenpai deck. Game 1. Enemy controller, and Drewshorn put in a ton of work there, just like in the previous round, and I quickly just like overwhelmed him. He made a small misplay with Magnamut, and then game 2 I won with Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries on Requiem. He couldn't do anything there, so quick 4-0, and we'll open our packs. Just finished round 1. We played against Malice, which is one of my least favorite decks to play against because the deck is so frustrating. However, I came out with the dub, which is good. Game 1, I won pretty handedly. It was very awkward. He bricked really hard. He drew Double Eclipse, Thrust, Ash, and an Imperm. Activated he drew a Perulia first, and so when he activated it, or maybe it was Fulos. He activated one of the, it was Fulos. I then could I activated Triple Tactics Talent after he activated the Fulos. Saw his hand, put back the Imperm, and then just didn't give him another draw. So he ended up drawing into a 3rd Eclipse, and then just couldn't do anything. So on my follow-up turn, I made Chaos Angel and all this other stuff, and he just kind of lost. So that was rough. Then game 2, he did, the usual Malice things. I opened up with a pretty solid hand of Ice, Double Bonfire, Imperm, and Fulos. I activated Fulos. I activated Imperm. He flipped up the Malice trap that summons from deck. I chained Fulos, thinking that'd be great, because then I would get an extra draw there. And then he chained Ash Blossom, shutting all that down, which really sucked. Did his combo. I then ended up activating Bonfire. he negates it with the Cyberse Fusion monster. I don't remember the names of anything. He summoned Terahertz at the end of his turn to end his combo, and then he sent the spell negator, negates my bonfire. I activate a second one, proceed to then make an Exciton Knight because he impermed my ice, blow up the field, but it wasn't enough because then he still summoned like 5 monsters in my end phase and killed me because he had Magnamud, so that sucked. And then game 3, he activated Perulia. Luckily, my hand was not good, or was good into that specifically, which is really weird. My hand in every other scenario would have sucked, but that particular one was actually perfect for. So I normal summoned Lacrima, sent Engraver, then made Caesar after a couple of steps, to load my graveyard. Then I set Imperm, and I passed with Caesar on the field, Imperm face down, Magnamut, and Druid's Worm, which was enough to stop his turn because he just didn't really have anything to stop that. The double Caesar was really rough, and then the Magnamut to banish off of the Splash Mage attempt to push through was just too much, and then I quickly OTK'd him. So we are 1-0. It's going to be 4 rounds tonight. We'll have to see how it goes. Just finished round 2. Played against Goblin Bikers, so we lost, as per usual. Game 1, he just had a million effects, couldn't do anything to stop the barrage of Goblin cards. And then game 2, I opened up Nibiru, Imperm, Bonfire, Ash, Talents, which is pretty solid. So I Bonfire for Ice, normal summon the Ice, and he Imperms, which is the only hand trap that my hand does not play well into. So I set, and then I just kind of die. Yeah, it was really unfortunate. I got to Nibiru into Ash. I had Nibiru. I didn't draw Ash, really. I had Ash turn 2. That was my top deck. Made Moon, went into Requiem, and then he impermed the Lacrima, so I couldn't get a second body to continue to play, which really sucked. So I ended up ending on Necroquip with Talents in hand and died. So we are 1-1. If we lose again, we're out for the day, but we'll have to see how it goes. I just finished round 3. I'm 2-1. I just played against Labyrinth, which was pretty quick. Game 1, I won the die roll, and I opened up with Caesar. He negated my Duo Drive, so I just ended on Caesar with Duo Drive. But the Caesar was enough to get me there, and then I just quickly killed him on the next turn. And then game 2, he just could not keep up with everything I was able to do. He set 3 back row, one of which was a big welcome, one of which ended up being, I think, like a regular welcome. I don't remember what it was, but he had set Labyrinth off of Shandrag Lear, and then he activated Lord to protect his back row, and he flipped Strike, which then put him in life point deficit to where eventually I forced out his last back row, which was Trap Trick to get D-Barrier. He flipped the D-Barrier and then summoned Lord, setting another Labyrinth trap. But that actually opened up the field for me to kill him because I had a Duo Drive that had been impermed or something, and then I had a Node as well as an X that was in defense. And so what I did was I activated my Econ that I had in hand, switched the Lord to attack position, and then used Talents, because he had activated Lord, to take the Lord and swing with all 3 for I think 6,900 damage, which was pretty nice, and won the game. So we are 2-1, 1 round left. Hopefully we can walk away some prizing, because I really am tired of going 2-2 here. It would be great. Last round is done. We finished 3-1. Which was pretty awesome. We just played against Pure Ryziel, so I got to experience that matchup on the other side. Game 1, I just opened up insane, and he just couldn't keep up. It was a pretty intense grind game. He had stopped my Duo Drive with an Ash Blossom, had stopped my Lacrima, and we were just going back and forth, but eventually I outgrinded him. And he couldn't do anything because he had run out of targets for his effects thanks to desires and things like that, which is what happens when you get into a grind game. And then game 2, he simply could not keep up. I just opened up the stones. Namely, because I opened up with Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries for detonators, so he ended on Baguska with a duo drive that had been Ash Blossomed. So on my turn, I started to do Fiendsmith combos. I put a DDD Wave King High Caesar in defense position, and then summoned X-Triziel, sending Mirologic Aggregator. The X obviously didn't get to search because I had a non-level or rank 4 monster, but because I had the Aggregator, I could turn off the Baguska, which then made my Wave King Caesar live, and when I normal summoned my Ice Riser, I just won the game from there. So we ended up 3-1 with the Fiendsmith version of the deck, and I think we're going to have to keep playing that going forward. We'll see what happens in episode 7.